Here are some of the most painful ancient deaths ever. It's horrible stuff. I can do this all day. Wait, no. Boiled alive. Ishikawa Goemon was an outlaw in Japan in the late 1500s. He was known for stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, but his life ended in one of the most brutal ways possible. Boiled alive was his son. Japan at this time was ruled by Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a ruthless warlord trying to unite the country. Some say Hideyoshi killed Goemon's wife, others say Goemon just hated the guy and saw him as a tyrant. Either way, Goemon decided to strike back. In 1594, he snuck into Hideyoshi's new castle to kill him in his sleep, but he knocked over a bowl, guard rushed in, and he got caught. Instead of a quick death, of course, Hideyoshi wanted to make an example. Goemon and his young son were thrown into a giant iron pot outside the temple in Kyoto, and the water began to boil. Desperate, Goemon lifted his son above the boiling water to keep him alive. From here, the story splits. In one version, bystanders couldn't watch any longer and pulled the boy to safety. Goemon, thought in agony, died knowing his child survived. In the darker version, no one helped. Goemon held his screaming son up as long as he could, then realized the boy was doomed, pushed him under to end it quickly. With his last strength, he raised the lifeless body high, glaring at the crowd and Hideyoshi in defiance, before collapsing into the pot himself. Not cool, man. Excuse me? Molten gold. Manius Aquillius was once a respected Roman consul and general, but his name became stained with corruption and greed. When war broke out with Mithridates of Pontus, Aquillius was sent east to fight, but his luck ran dry. Defeated, he was dragged before the king in chains. And Mithridates knew his reputation: greedy, corrupt, a man who sold Rome's honor for gold. So he chose a punishment to match. Aquillius' mouth was forced open and molten gold was poured inside. The metal scorched his lips and tongue before tearing down his throat, searing flesh and closing his airways with the hiss of steam. It was not instant. This likely came within 20 seconds, but every moment was agony. Mithridates' message was clear: a man who loved gold would die by it. And Aquillius' last words were simple: Scaphism. This Mithridates was not a king this time, just a soldier. He made the mistake of killing Cyrus the Younger in battle, then drunkenly bragging about it in a royal feast. The glory of that kill belonged only to King Artaxerxes, and embarrassing the King of Kings meant only one thing: execution. Not a quick one, no. The worst one. Scaphism. Mithridates was trapped between two wooden boats, his arm, legs, and head sticking out. Milk and honey were forced down his throat until he gagged, while more was smeared across his skin. Under the burning sun, the sweetness turned his body into bait. Flies and wasps swarmed his face, crawling into his eyes and mouth. Each day he was force-fed again and again, and each day his body produced more filth he could not escape. Covered in his own waste, maggots and worms bred in the rot, burrowing into open sores and devouring him alive from within. His mind flickered between fever and madness as the days dragged on. 17 days, that's how long Mithridates lasted, trapped in his living coffin while the insects picked him apart, one nerve at a time. When he was finally still, there was little left that could be called a man. That sweet man-made horror beyond my comprehension. Ling Shi. In 1402, a scholar by the name Fang Xiaoru stood tall and declared, "You may kill me, but you cannot make me serve you." Really? His words were aimed at Chu Di, the Yongle emperor, who had just seized the throne in a coup of blood. Fang was ordered to draft the proclamation that would justify the usurpation, and he refused. Defiance like that doesn't go well in history, so Fang was condemned to Ling Shi, this by 1,000 cut. But not just him. Stripped and tied down before the crowd, his executioners began to carve him apart, first the skin, then the muscles, until rib bones of his flesh fell to the ground. Each slice was slow, deliberate, designed not to just kill, but to break a man's will. Yet Fang used the breath left in his torn lungs to shout the rightful emperor's name, loyal to the last. But the punishment didn't stop with him. The emperor ordered the execution of 10 entire generations of Fang's family and students, a slaughter so vast that it became known as the extermination of 10 degrees of kinship. Fang was the only man in Chinese history ever sentenced to such fate. Okay, I am done with this shit. You can watch this one or this one, I don't care.